One of the best parts about the summertime is all of the camps that professional athletes are bringing to the Atlanta area. And one guy who knows a thing or two about bringing some very good camps to this area is a former Georgia Bulldog. Hello to the former Georgia defensive lineman and Tucker High School grad, Jonathan Ledbetter. Jonathan, it is great to see you today.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be on.
Absolutely. You got a camp coming up on July 13th. You and I were talking. It's not your first camp. You've done this a couple of times. The Led a Better Way, the Jonathan Ledbetter Foundation putting on the camp. What is your favorite part about doing this every single year?
Honestly, my favorite part is just the kids coming out, having fun. We do ages 6 to 18. So, we have a pretty big scope of kids. We split them up. The younger kids are usually like the ones in the bounce houses and, just doing stuff like that. The older kids want to focus on football specifics. But honestly, just the biggest thing that I get out of it is, just letting kids have fun, letting them express themselves. And, we promote community. That's the biggest thing, about it. My foundation's motto is it takes a village. So, we do this every year. We try to bring out new vendors, fun things for the kids, fun prizes, fun activities, competition, just to let everybody be themselves, express themselves, and overall just, have a good, fun day.
Once upon a time, it was a little Jonathan Ledbetter running around out there. I can't imagine you very small, but you were small at one point in your life. What did you take away from those memories as a kid, getting to connect with other professional athletes like you did a long time ago?
Well, I will tell you this. I was always the bigger kid.
I believe it. I definitely believe that.
It was honestly awesome. We had older guys, in our corners. Even when Tucker has a park league. There's so much stuff around the community. You see guys, coming after you. Even guys at the high school. I want to be a, Tucker High School, Tiger. Play on the football team. And my brother went to school there. I have 2 older brothers, so it's just like the whole Ledbetter tree was like, this is what we do. This is what we are. And we have Tucker has put a lot of guys in the NFL, and it's just a good football program, a good school overall. So being able to look up to those guys and then getting to high school and then being recruited by the colleges and then, having the opportunity, to be blessed enough to play for the University of Georgia and, to compete for a national title. We ended up not winning, which is, don't put that on here.
I wasn't going to bring it up, okay? But you brought it up all on your own. Keep going. We'll get to that in a minute since you put it out there.
Still bitter.
I bet.
It's just awesome to be able to, have experienced that and now be full circle, being able to give it back to kids who are just like me or, chasing their goals just like I was.
Yeah, you talk about giving back. You do it so well. You were the Walter Payton Man of the Year with the Arizona Cardinals in 2023. They honored you with that. It's such a cool thing that the NFL does. Why is giving back to you so important?
Truthfully, I didn't even know I was going to get nominated for that award. That kind of surprised me, and it was awesome. The biggest thing about giving back is, I went through a lot of struggles, adversity, just like everybody does, in their life. But, my biggest thing is, you got to let the adversity, make or break you, and it's not easy and you always can't do it alone. But I was blessed and fortunate enough to have people in my corner who believed in me when, I still believed in myself, but I didn't realize my full potential. They saw things in me that I didn't see yet because I didn't want to see them. And, they stayed on me and they supported me. They loved me even through the hard times. And, not everybody has that. And I think the biggest thing is trying to give that to the kids who don't. And even the kids that do have it, just giving them more support to continue to chase their dreams, because the more people that believe in you, it gives you the confidence to believe in yourself.
I love that. And if you guys can join him on July 13th, you better get out there. You can still sign up. We got a limited amount of time left for you to get out to that camp. But Jonathan, look, you brought it up. You're repping the G. Let's talk about Georgia for a second. I know you're still bitter about the national championship that went down against Alabama here in Atlanta. But let's talk about the new format with college football for a second, because this is totally new, right? We're getting more than 4 teams for the first time ever. There's new schools included in the SEC. What do you think about everything that's going on right now?
Truthfully, if you want my honest opinion, I want to go back to college at some point. I need to get reparations, for what they, they owe me too. You ask any NCAA college athlete, what they think about, college football, college sports in general right now, especially even just with the NIL and kind of expanding stuff. My last 2 years, we ended up going to the national championship my junior year.
Yep.
And my senior year, we ended up getting booted out, but everyone knew we were one of the best teams. So it's just kind of cool to see them start to try to fix that and know, hey, our system wasn't the best system. There's still a lot of good football, a lot of good teams. Maybe we need to figure out how to incorporate more people, more conferences, just to make it more interesting. Because now, kids are not just going to the SECs; they're going everywhere. Because there's opportunity everywhere, and they're starting to realize that. And it's just the best fit for the athlete, the kid. And yeah, they owe me some money though. I just send me a little check NCAA, and I'll be on my way. But I wish we had that my last year, because I really was mad that they booted us out of the college playoffs, and I knew we were one of the best teams in it. And we can't dwell on the past. Living good. The boys got winning back and got it done. They went back to back for us. So I felt a part of that. We got to lay the foundation. And people always ask me like, "Oh, do you wish you won a national title?" Like, of course I do. Like, like everybody wants to win, but
right.
I feel better that the guys after us, the young guys that believed in what we were trying to create there, they kept it going, and then they were able to get it done and finally beat teams like Alabama.
I'm glad you said lay the foundation. That is an important thing for you to remember, because it was guys like you that laid the foundation, not just for NIL, but for what Georgia was able to do with the national championship. But it brings up a really good question, because Georgia has been, no pun intended, the top dog in college football the last couple of years, but now seems a little bit more wide open with a lot of kids going everywhere, just like you said. What do you think it means for Kirby Smart and the University of Georgia at the top?
Oh, recruiting is getting hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wanted to be a college coach at one point, but now it's just like, ooh, I'm not sure, because you've got kids who have egos, and honestly, like it's a blessing that kids are being able to get paid, but the education piece is so important with this. Just to teach them, about finances, about sticking to things like adversity, going through adversity, because truthfully, my adversity built me, but. Now we got transfer portals and all this stuff like that, and that's fine. Kids go find your best opportunity, but, don't just leave a place or, run from challenges, because, that kind of defeats the purpose. Life is hard. You're going to have ebbs and flows, but, the lows make you appreciate the highs. So, that's just kind of the piece I would have. But for Kirby, he's a world, renowned recruiter. I know he's going to find a way to get it done. He always does, but I know that it gets challenging for them over the years, because, you have to not only create that connection emotionally to the kid and, let them know that you want to be there for them. And that's exactly who he is, truly and authentically, because I had that without, any of the stuff that the kids have now. And he was in my corner forever. He still is. And, he still calls me, still go talk to the team and everything like that. So he's good at that part. But now you have that financial piece where kids are like, hey, like if I come here, I want $1 million, and it's just like, all right, like, how can we, work with this? And like, the kids sometimes, are valued at that. And, sometimes the other kids aren't. So it's just about creating that balance, I guess. And, I'm glad I'm not in it. It's a tough pill to swallow for them, and they got to handle it. And I think they're doing a good job. And I know that they will.
I could listen to that all day. You're giving a lot of dissertations on college football right now. But real quick, you think Carson Beck is going to win the Heisman this year?
Oh, yeah. Come on now. I'm going to go with my boy, man. He's definitely a dog for life. He's a competitor, man. And, he's the things that he's been able to do at the quarterback position for Georgia that, you haven't seen a lot of Georgia quarterbacks do. It's special. So
last question for you. Let's get a little bit of an update on you. I know that you were injured. You're currently a free agent. I know your future is very bright in the NFL, but what is Jonathan Ledbetter doing right now?
Well, right now, unfortunately, I was injured. We played Chicago. I tore my ACL and my lateral meniscus. So I'm just rehabbing that right now. And kind of along that process, I have like a eye condition called keratoconus. And I actually ended up having to get like emergency eye surgery and doing a corneal transplant. So I had to get a donor tissue and get my eye, basically the lid of my eye replaced. So that's why I'm wearing shades inside, even though don't think I'm that cool. But
you're cool. It's okay.
Yeah. But so I actually got this surgery almost a month out. So we're doing good. The vision's coming back, and the knee's doing really well. So just kind of, stacking chips, doing what we got to do and moving on.
Well, we're always wishing you the best of luck. Tell everybody where they can sign up for your camp coming this Saturday.
Go to www.letabetterway.com. There's a registration link for the kids. It'll be open for the next day, I believe, or day and a half. And then there's also a registration link for the volunteers. Please go in there, sign up. It's a free camp. We have a ton of vendors, a ton of community stuff. It's going to be fun. Awesome event for the kids. And we have it at Zaxby's too.
Oh, Zaxby's is a good plug. Jonathan, thank you. I appreciate you. Always wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day.